Huawei held a big launch event in Munich where they showcased the new Huawei P60 Pro and Mate X3 in Europe. But we also got a pair of new smartwatches with the Watch 4 and Watch 4 Pro. It was a huge event with plenty of people and cool experience zones. So come with me and let's check out their new products. Now let's talk about the star of the day first, the Huawei P60 Pro. You might have already seen my review, but let me again sum up what impressed me the most with this phone. Now first, the design. The rear makes this phone really special. If you get the Rococo Pearl version, then your phone will be unique. But what does this actually mean? The Huawei P60 Pro is inspired by 18th century French art. Its Rococo Pearl colorway has a unique texture derived from natural mineral pearl powder. Huawei combined modern manufacturing techniques with traditional methods to create a texture that is unique to every single piece of the Huawei P60 Pro. That means every phone will look different, which is really something new. But of course, if you prefer it more simple, there's a more traditional feather sand black option, which utilizes anti-fingerprint feather sand glass and is not that glossy. Huawei also uses again Kunlun glass on the P60 Pro, just like on the Mate 50 series. The Kunlun glass is inspired by the strong and durable structure of reinforced concrete and is made through a rigorous process including 24 hours of crystal growth, 108 procedures and 1600 degrees melting process. The glass contains billions of high-strength nanocrystals, making the glass highly impact resistant, and this makes it able to withstand drops 10 times better than other smartphone glass. Now that really sounds like just some marketing facts, but guys, go ahead and check some drop tests from the Mate 50 Pro. It's really crazy how durable that glass is, and it shows again that Huawei isn't just focused on selling you a phone. They really sell you the next technology that comes to other brands after years. Of course, the camera is another highlight, as the P in the P series stands mostly for photography. And if you watched my review, you have already seen how powerful the camera system powered by XMage is. But many of you guys asked, what is actually XMage? Now Huawei launched its own imaging solution for flagship devices. It's called XMage. It focuses on 4 imaging systems: optical system, mechanical structure, imaging technology, and image processing. And again Huawei made it. With XMage and the great camera hardware, they scored the first place on DxOMark. Now I already knew they're gonna do it when recording my review, as some of the sample pictures, they looked really unreal. Now incorporated into the eye of light, that's what they call it, it's the sensor array, we have a 48 megapixel sensor with f1.4 to f4.0 physical aperture. That means you can actually change the physical aperture on the phone. Now that's also not something new that has been already introduced on the Mate 50 series, but here in the P60 it just takes everything to another level. Then there's also a 13 megapixel ultra wide angle lens and a 48 megapixel telephoto sensor. Of course, every camera takes good pictures under daylight conditions, but still the color accuracy on the P60 Pro was really mind-blowing. So let's come to my favorite feature, and this was definitely the variable aperture. This was something I really loved the most about this phone, as it gives you that amazing bokeh that's hard to differentiate from a professional camera. Now camera lenses are really heavy. To get a nice bokeh you probably need a big lens with a low aperture, and maybe sometimes you don't want that because you want to get something sharp in the background and you need to change the lens. But now you have all that in a smartphone. And there was even a photographer live on stage that really underlined my statement. He said he had a huge backpack with lenses, he had back problems when he was a photographer, but nowadays he has everything he needs in his pocket. And this makes the Huawei P60 Pro so special. But guys, also the zoom. In order to get that zoom range on professional cameras you need huge lenses. And even though you might think it's not that useful because you don't use the zoom, it's really one of the greatest features on this phone. It doesn't only give you fantastic zoom images, but also doubles as a macro camera for hands down the best macro shots done on a smartphone. If you don't believe me, check the score on DxOMark and they also have some sample pictures. On the DxOMark scoring system, The Huawei P60 Pro achieved a remarkable score of 159 points for the photos, 80 for bokeh shots and 75 for preview. It got 158 points for zoom and 148 points for video, showcasing that it's really a versatile camera phone. But of course Huawei didn't come to Munich with just one product. There's also a new foldable smartphone, the Huawei Mate X3. The Huawei Mate X3 is a full-on rival to any foldable smartphone on the market. It's a full-sized foldable with a razor-thin 5.3mm body when unfolded. And it's really crazy, it's just like the size of the USB-C port. It's also weighing a relatively lightweight with 239 grams, using a combination of aluminum and ultralight carbon fiber. Despite this, Huawei somehow managed to pack in a 4800 mAh battery, which is larger than the battery in most other foldables. It also manages to include 66 watts wired charging and 50 watt wireless charging. All this, and it matches the IPX8 water protection rating as well. Now Huawei has used anti-fingerprint feather sand glass with a microcrystalline structure for the finish for the black feather sand glass version, while it's also available in a dark green vegan leather version. That's the version I'm testing right now. It features also a 6.4-inch Full HD Plus outer display with the durable Kunlun glass, which we talked about before, and a 7.85-inch 2496 x 2224 fold-out display. Now both of the displays come with a 120Hz refresh rate. That's also something that's really high-end for foldable smartphones. Now on the camera front, the Huawei Mate X3 packs a 50 megapixel wide camera, 13 megapixel ultra wide and a 12 megapixel telephoto sensor. And the telephoto camera features also a 5x periscope lens, which is very unusual in a foldable. Now foldables are designed to be very thin, very flexible, and usually it's very difficult to pack a huge camera system in a foldable smartphone. But somehow Huawei has managed to keep it not only thin, but also include a great camera system. On top of that, you get also a pair of 8 megapixel selfie cameras and of course laser focus. It is powered by the same Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor, which is a 4G mobile chipset, which isn't the latest and greatest chip that Qualcomm has to offer, but still very powerful and up to date. Now, it's supported by considerably large 12GB of RAM and also 512GB of internal storage, which is supposed to offer quite a lot of space. I could already get one sample at the event and I'm currently working on a full review, so stay tuned for that, but so far I can share a little sneak peek with you guys. This phone really makes sense with EMUI. EMUI 13 upgrades the previous EMUI 12 with more functional app shortcuts, stacked widgets, resizable smart folders, smart storage space, better sharing options and also improved security and privacy. Multitasking is great with EMUI 13. And the task switcher allows for split screen and or pop-up mode. Now most of the default apps, they support pop-up view. Multi-window aka split screen is available as well, but works only via the multi-window dock. So to use that, you swipe and hold anywhere on the left or right, then just drag and drop an app icon over your currently opened app, and you can have multiple pop-ups and 2 split screen ones. You can also adjust the split screen orientation from horizontal to vertical. While multitasking in EMUI on Huawei devices is not really something new, but is due to the screen size of normal smartphones not so much fun. But it totally rocks on the Mate X3, as you can double the screen size of normal smartphones. So finally you can read 2 pages open, copy and paste from chats, or simply watch a YouTube video while you work on a script or similar things. So it's not really something new, but on that gorgeous screen of the Mate X3 combined with the slim and amazing form factor, it's really enjoyable. But also the foldable screen can be used as a stand, for instance for the camera to take pictures, selfies or videos of recording yourself. Also gaming on the screen is pretty cool, and all the things considered, the Huawei Mate X3 offers great performance. While it might not be based on the latest and greatest chipset, the Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 still has plenty of power for pretty much any task you throw at it. So guys, I'm still testing the device and soon you can expect my full review. And now, there are also some new watches, the Huawei Watch 4 and the Watch 4 Pro. The The Pro model brings a 1.5-inch LTPO AMOLED screen with sapphire glass. Its 48mm casing is made from TC4 titanium alloy, which is said to be 3 times stronger than regular titanium. The regular Watch 4 comes with a 46mm stainless steel casing. Now both watches have always-on display functionality and plenty of new planetary watch face options, and they're also 5 ATM water resistant. Both watches can track well over 100 workout modes and the usual health tracking features. Battery life on the Watch 4 is rated at 3 days of typical usage, while the Watch 4 Pro should last up to 4.5 days. The power saving modes can extend the endurance to 14 days on the Watch 4 and 21 days on the Pro. The Huawei Watch 4 Pro and the Watch 4 also have something called the 1-minute 7-point health overview, which, as the name would suggest, gives you a breakdown of 7 metrics within 1 minute to help you keep an eye on various elements of your health. And those 7 metrics include heart rate, SpO2, stress, skin temperature, ECG, arterial stiffness and also respiratory health. Now guys, I only had a short hands-on time with the watches, but I'm working on a full review, so stay tuned for that very soon. And of course, Huawei also showed again the FreeBuds 5. I've already also reviewed them a few weeks ago, and summarizing, the Huawei FreeBuds 5, they offer some pretty decent features for a quite reasonable asking price. There's LDAC support, ANC and a very interesting design. Also, the wearing comfort is beyond reproach. The earbuds are simply placed in the ears, they do not pinch at all, so you really just forget about them after a few minutes. Now overall, those earbuds really round up a really great and pretty big lineup. Of course, Huawei also showcased again the Huawei Watch Ultimate, which I reviewed already a while ago, and it's the world's first 100-meter diving smartwatch with high-end materials. So if you want to check it out, make sure to watch my full review of it. And at the end, they also showed new MateBooks. Now Huawei added 13th gen Intel processors to the MateBook X Pro and the MateBook 16S lineup and attached 2023 to their names. Otherwise, there are very few hardware differences between the two and their 2022 counterparts. With the 13th generation Intel processors, those MateBooks come with high performance, and if you ever owned a MateBook before, you know it integrates seamlessly to the Huawei ecosystem. And we're now here at the end of this video from the Huawei P60 launch event in Munich and all the new Huawei products. If you have any questions about the products, make sure to ask, and there will be much more videos soon also about the Watch 4 and Watch 4 Pro, so stay tuned. As always guys, big thanks for watching. I'm Steven from Tech Magnet and I'm signing out. Bye.